and North Africa flowed into Germany. They were welcomed, with the Chancellor Angela Merkel telling her country, "We can do this." To discuss the implications of the policy, I'm joined by Deutsche Welle correspondent Thomas Sparrow. Thomas, how is Germany dealing with the current migration situation during the pandemic, particularly what's taking place between Greece and Turkey?
The problems between Greece and Turkey are not only a big challenge for Europe as a whole and could not only pose a problem for the EU as a whole, they're also particularly important when we understand current migration flows and the possibility, obviously, that more migrants can come to the EU. You may know, obviously, that Turkey and the Turkish government have threatened to release migrants to Europe, and these tensions between Turkey and Greece are actually a big problem. That's something that German officials have obviously seen, and that's why, for example, the German Foreign Minister Heiko Maas went to both Athens and Ankara very recently to try and make sure the channels of communication are open to make sure that tensions are reduced. This is not only about migration, but it is clear that tensions between those two countries could also affect migration as a whole.
Yeah, Germany took in almost 1 million refugees in a year at the height of the migrant crisis. Was that successful?
It was actually, and you already mentioned it 5 years ago, that Angela Merkel said that famous sentence, "Wir schaffen das," or "we can make it," which is definitely one of Angela Merkel's most significant statements. When you look at her legacy, that will certainly be top of the list. And if you actually ask whether Germany has succeeded, you have to understand this from a mixed perspective. Yes, there are elements that have improved. For example, integration. Integration is seen as something that has improved in comparison to previous influx of refugees, for example, in the 90s. But when you look in detail at integration, you can see certain problems. For example, the fact that many refugees are not in skilled jobs, even though when they had skilled jobs in the countries of origin, or the fact that women have been particularly affected in this case. So it is seen here in Germany as something that goes well beyond only the immediate effect. That is something that is a medium to long-term problem, a medium to long-term issue for authorities as well.
Yeah, and there have been Islamic terror attacks since then, and also a rise in right-wing groups in Germany. Many of those groups are angry about the generous migrant program.
And this is essentially one of also the key developments from the refugee crisis, the fact that Germany has become a more and more polarized country. You may know that, for example, as a result of the migration crisis, the AfD, the far-right party, actually gained momentum, gained many voters, and is now the main opposition party in the German parliament. And this development, with other developments as well, has actually turned Germany into a very polarized country. This will also be part of Angela Merkel's legacy when we look at the refugee crisis as a whole. In particular, the fact that many Germans, as you mentioned correctly, are against the way Germany dealt with the refugee crisis 5 years ago.
Okay, Thomas Sparrow reporting from Berlin. The Khmer Rouge commander who oversaw the mass murder of at least